If you're new to GarageBand for iPad, it can be difficult to know where to begin when you first open the app. So in this video, I'll walk you through the first things that I think every new GarageBand user should do. We'll explore the instruments, adjust a few important settings, record some audio, and start adding loops and your own sounds. By the end, you'll have everything you need to start building your own projects. If you haven't installed GarageBand yet, open the App Store and search for GarageBand. Tap Get to download it. And then once that's done, tap Open. The first time you launch GarageBand, it may ask for permission to access your iPad's microphone. You'll need to allow this if you want to record vocals, acoustic instruments, or any other audio using the built-in microphone. You may also be asked whether GarageBand can send you notifications when new downloadable content is available. That choice is completely up to you. GarageBand isn't particularly notification heavy though, and these alerts can let you know when new sounds or content packs become available. Once that's done, you'll arrive at GarageBand's sound browser. The sound browser is where every new GarageBand project begins. Swipe left and right to explore the available options. You'll find touch instruments such as keyboards, drums, strings, bass and guitars, as well as the audio recorder, guitar amp, sampler and live loops. If you have compatible music apps or audio unit plugins installed on your iPad, you can also access those from the external section. Each instrument card has a few different starting options underneath it. For example, a keyboard might let you jump directly into its keyboard, chord strip, or scale view. Drum instruments offer different ways to create rhythms, while the audio recorder and guitar amp cards provide shortcuts to particular sounds and presets. You won't be able to access the tracks view until you add at least one instrument or audio track, so let's begin with the keyboard. I'm going to open GarageBand's keyboard here and start with the grand piano. Like most of GarageBand's touch instruments, this screen is divided into two main areas. You have the playing area where you perform notes and chords, and a selection of controls that let you change how the instrument sounds. You can switch to another instrument sound by tapping the current instrument name. GarageBand includes pianos, electric pianos, organs, synthesizers, and loads of other keyboard sounds. You can play the individual notes using the on-screen keyboard, but you don't need to know how to play piano to get started. Tap the chord strips button to switch to chords view. Each strip represents a different chord. Tap the higher sections for higher versions of the chord, or the lower sections for lower versions. You can also use GarageBand's Autoplay feature to create complete keyboard parts automatically. Open the instrument controls and turn the Autoplay knob to one of its 4 positions. Now when you tap a chord strip, GarageBand will play a pattern using the notes from that chord. Tap another strip to change chord. The pattern also changes depending on whether you tap with 1, 2, or 3 fingers, giving you several different variations to experiment with. When you're ready to record, tap the red record button in the control bar. GarageBand will begin recording from the current position of the playhead. By default, this will be the very start of the current section. As you record, the ruler turns red, and GarageBand captures the notes you play, along with any of the changes you make to the instrument's knobs, sliders, and other controls while playing. When you've finished, tap Stop. GarageBand will switch to Tracks View, where your recording appears as a green MIDI region. You can now press play to hear it back. If you want to return to the instrument, tap its icon in the top left corner. Before you go much further, it's worth checking in on your project's settings. Tap the cog icon in the top corner. You can change the tempo, time signature, and key signature from here. You'll also find controls for the metronome and counting. The counting gives you a bar of clicks before recording begins, which makes it much easier to start playing at the right time. Inside the advanced settings, you'll find the option to use 24-bit audio resolution. I recommend switching this on. So far, we've used one of GarageBand's virtual instruments. If you want to record your voice, an acoustic guitar, or another real-world sound, you'll need the audio recorder. Return to Tracks View, tap the plus button to add a new track, and select Audio Recorder from the sound browser. GarageBand offers two main audio recorder modes, Fun and Studio. The Fun mode includes effects that can dramatically transform your voice. They're entertaining, but for a normal vocal or instrument recording, you'll probably want to use the Studio mode. You can record using your iPad's built-in microphone or connect an external microphone or audio interface for better sound quality. If you're using the built-in microphone, avoid covering it with your hand or iPad case and position the iPad so the microphone is pointing towards the sound you want to capture. Before recording, keep an eye on the input level meter. You want a healthy signal here without the meter reaching the red. If it does hit the red, your recording may clip and sound distorted. And that distortion is extremely difficult to remove afterwards. Once your levels look good, just tap Record. So here is a recording of my voice using the studio setting Lead Vocals. Once you're finished, tap Stop and return to Tracks View to see the new audio region. So here is a recording of my voice using the studio setting Lead Vocals. You can also change the audio recorder's sound by opening its preset browser and choosing from categories designed for vocals, instruments, and other types of recordings. So here is a recording of my voice using the studio setting Lead Vocals. So here is a recording of my voice using the studio setting Lead Vocals. You don't actually have to record every part of a song yourself. GarageBand includes a huge collection of royalty-free Apple loops that you can use to add things like drum beats, bass lines, guitars, keyboards, percussion, and other sounds to your project. You can only open the loop browser from the Tracks View. Tap the Loop Browser button in the control bar to open it. You can filter the available loops by instrument, genre, or description, or use the search box if you already know what you're looking for. Tap a loop to preview it. And once you've found one you like, tap and hold it, then drag it into an empty area of the Tracks View. Position its left edge at the bar where you want it to begin. Most Apple loops automatically adjust to match the tempo of your project. This means a loop may sound slightly different inside your song than it did when you previewed it. To repeat the loop, tap it, select Loop from the menu, and drag its right edge across your project. The sounds included with GarageBand are just the beginning. Since GarageBand's release, Apple has released a large collection of additional sound packs and remix sessions to its sound library, containing instrument patches, drum kits, Apple loops, and live loops grids. They're available to download for free from GarageBand's sound library. You can open the sound library from the sound browser or by tapping More Sounds inside many of GarageBand's instruments. Tap any pack to see a description of it, listen to a preview, and view everything included in the download. Some packs focus on a particular genre or style, while others add completely new collections of instruments and loops. You don't need to download everything immediately though. Some of these packs are quite large, so I'd recommend choosing a few that suit the kind of music you want to make and just go from there. Finally, you can bring your own samples, backing tracks, and audio files into GarageBand. From Tracks View, open the Loop browser and select Files. This shows audio files you've already imported into the current GarageBand file browser. To find something stored elsewhere on your iPad, tap Browse from the Files app. Navigate to the folder containing your audio, then tap the file you want to import. After a moment, it will appear inside GarageBand's file list. Tap and hold the file, then drag it into Tracks View the same way you did with your loops. GarageBand will create a new audio track for it automatically. One thing to watch out for here is the length of your song section. If GarageBand only imports part of the file, open the Song Sections menu here and change the section length to automatic before trying again. Those are the first things I think every new GarageBand for iPad user should try. Explore a few touch instruments, record a simple part, adjust your project settings, and experiment with audio, Apple loops, and your own imported sounds. But I'd love to know what you think are the essential features new GarageBand for iPad users should learn first. Let me know down in the comments, and if you could like and hype the video while you're down there, I'd really appreciate it, and it helps more people see this video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.